How you doing? How you doing? And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Petty, and I appreciate you stopping by today. And we're gonna go ahead and just throw a real quick happy holidays out there to everybody. It's the 21st. I'm still waiting to feel Christmassy, but I guess that's just a poor people feeling. It's okay. I got me some discount candy. We good. We good. Happy holidays to all. So we're here to talk about Blue Protocol today. So someone on one of my last videos asked me about Blue Protocol, and it made me realize, like, oh man, it's been like 2 months since I really peeked in on the game and looked at what was going on with it and everything. Because I heard about this game the same time that I heard about Genshin. Now, Genshin was further along in its development cycle than Blue Protocol was. But they're always mentioned in the same vein. So I have a feeling that a lot of my Genshin viewers are already going to be possibly somewhat aware of Blue Protocol. And I found an absolutely amazing site. Like, real quick, as a content creator, I'm constantly looking for information on new games, hell, games that have come out and have like been out for a month or so, and there not be any good, or basically any good like resource sites for it. So any information that you're trying to find, you kind of have to hobble together, and that is true for so many games. Like, it is a thing. Now you get your typical kind of clickbaity sites, which will list the descriptions for stuff, basically the same stuff that's in game. There's websites that'll basically post that description on a web page somewhere, and that counts as content, and there won't be any real info in those, or not really anything in depth that you don't get from reading the stuff in game already. But someone, I don't know who, and I do not believe that this is attached to the official Blue Protocol team, has put together this amazing website, Blue Protocol DB. It's basically a Blue Protocol database, and there is a ton of information on this site. I'm going to include links to it down below for you guys to go check out, because there's a lot of good stuff here. If you were like me and just had some vague inklings on the game, there is enough information out now, especially with the closed beta test and everything that happened earlier this year, that we do now have some really meaty stuff that we can take a look at and sink our teeth into and get an idea of how the game is going to play and some of that stuff. So real quick before we get into some of the video stuff and everything, because I do want to kind of go through and show some of the actual gameplay, so if anyone that hasn't seen any of that stuff can be like me and be like, oh, that looks like Genshin. Kinda. We'll get into it. So real fast, before we get too far down the rabbit hole, I just want to pull something up from the November 20th update. So in this is a pretty important piece of information, I feel. This all comes from a Zoom conference call with the developers. There's this really important paragraph down here. Let's just go ahead and highlight that bad boy. And you know what? Let's get a little zoom action. Enhance. Okay, I'm totally going to have to undo that when we go to look at the video footage. But during this call, they basically go out of their way to be like, also, so everyone knows and understands, this is not an MMO, which is a meme. Essentially what they're trying to say is that it's just like an online action RPG. Genshin would fall under a very similar umbrella, and also like Genshin, there are so many people prior to Genshin's launch, and even for a little while after it was out, they were calling Genshin an MMO, which by no stretch of the imagination is that accurate. Like, when we all say MMO, we should rightfully think of things like, World of Warcraft, Perfect World, Final Fantasy XIV. Those are MMOs. This is not an MMO. One of the things that they go on to say, and it's hot in this paragraph, is that they want it to look like an anime movie realized in-game. So they basically want it to feel like you're playing an anime more than you're staring at an MMO, which from a storytelling perspective is great because MMOs typically have a hard time making you actually care about what's happening. Typically it's kind of just, well, for some flimsy reason I'm going to give you, need you to go kill 12 foxes for me and like 8 of these bears. Okay. And that's the story in MMOs. Obviously we're memeing it to a degree, but this definitely has a much higher focus on story, on your character, which I like. I think Genshin also does a really good job of bringing that home. As far as other stuff that's in this, nothing really super important or crazy. They do announce some new zones that are going to be in the game. There's going to be a desert. Cool. I have no idea what else is in the game, so I don't, that's cool, but it's not registering on the hype meter because at this point we still know so little about the game that I don't know what to put on the hype meter. So that's a work in progress. But we're getting new areas, new biomes and everything announced, which is cool. But let's go ahead and go back real quick. And just for all my people that have not seen anything from this game whatsoever, it's actually let's take a look at this because I do want to meme them. Meme Genshin specifically. So in this update, there's a link to 2 Twitter posts from the Blue Protocol teams in Japan that are showcasing 2 basically combat related things. So this is going to be like an attacking charge, right? Hold on a second. Do I really need to go out of full screen mode? Okay, fine. Alright. Does this help a little bit? There we go. Just kidding. And that is like the most potato-y that it could look. So you might be thinking to yourself, like, oh, that looks a little bit like Genshin. Yeah, little bit. As far as like the combat and everything goes, it definitely looks like it's going to have a much different feel than Genshin. So don't look at footage like this and go like, oh, it's a Genshin clone. It's not a Genshin clone. But this has something that Genshin desperately needs, and it's kind of hilarious. Let's see if we can pick up on what's happening here. So wait for it. Oh, I saw a flash. Let's bring it back. You know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? That is a counterattack system. You can dodge an attack and then counter it. You might be like, Patty, that would be a great thing to have in Genshin. Why don't we have that? And it's insane because the other game that MiHoYo has done, Honkai Impact, had a very important counter system. Like, that was a huge part of combat, and doing perfect counters did nice damage. So those are things in their other flagship game. Why we didn't get some kind of counter system in Genshin, I can't tell you, bro. They put it in their other game, but not this one. But this is going to have a counter system and everything in it, which is cool. I like that they're, putting out little teasers like this and showing real gameplay instead of just putting out, like, teaser cinematics and stuff like that. I mean, obviously you want to put those out, but if that's the only thing you're putting out, it's a little sus, bro. So I just like to see the gameplay footage being shared. Maybe I've just seen too many Facebook game ads and it's giving me a complex at this point. But I highly recommend you guys come and check out these sites and take a look. There's some pretty good stuff in this video selection. One of the most important things that we have to highlight is a character creation system. You making your mans or your womans, whichever you doing, you actually get to make your character, which is, and you get to see the different like expressions of the person. That is so cool that they give you that little template to be able to see while you're doing and making your character. That is so nice. Look at you guys. I'm proud right now. I can't think of another character creation where I've seen that in. I'm sure it exists. I'm sure this isn't 100% original idea, but that is such a good thing to include. I like that. That is a classy move. But you get to make your character and run around in this world and do all the fighting and everything. So it's very much different from Genshin in that it's not a gambling character collection game. But I don't know what monetization stuff is going to be in the game, so we don't know what might be there in lieu of you being able to, you know, try to get new characters and stuff. So we're not going to say that these guys are amazing and that they've done everything right that Genshin did wrong. But we at least, there's no gotcha element, which I think for a lot of people is probably going to be a very good thing. From everything I've seen, this is supposed to be more of a AAA, you know, kind of game and game experience, which you would then hope that there's not a lot of the mobile monetization stuff baked into there, like we saw with Genshin. So hopefully there's no gambling. Hopefully there's no energy system. But we're going to have to wait and see. But I like this. I like this. I like the fact that you get to make your person. That is, oh, so very classy. But that's cool. That's one thing that a lot of people, you know, have wished was in Genshin, was being able to do their own person. Now, the other thing that I kind of want to show real quick, and it's specifically for the, like, spellcasters and ranged classes, how these guys seem to work is super awesome, and I'm super excited to be able to play this eventually. Oh, wait a minute. Is this the one I was thinking of? I think I might be in this game. If you look really, really closely, you might see someone that makes you think of Petty. Oh, did you miss it? Let's go back real fast. Let's see. My man's here. Oh, had a lot of health. All that health's gone now. Let's see what happens with the rest of the saga. Oh, no. Oh, he dead. See, I am in the game. That is 100% verified Petty moves right there. But let's actually take a look at what this person is actually doing. So all of the casting, there seems to be a mix of you aiming at stuff, you know, with your normal cursor. You see the little circle, you see the little dot inside that circle. Seems like you're aiming that, but when you see, like, you know, these big beams of light kind of thing that looks like they're going up, that is essentially what the placement thing looks like. So that's the spell showing them, like, I'm going here, and then, you know, they're spamming the skill, so you see it keep popping up. But that's a nice wide open range. I feel like this person is super far away. And it just looks like a very free system for a caster to be using. And he's calling in Meteor. Like, this is old school Final Fantasy. Like, this looks dummy fun. Now, this kind of gameplay where you can see the other players in there, we've got some other classes and stuff going on, a lot of things happening, big old world boss. Yeah, okay, that's got some signs of an MMO. And in some of these other videos, if you go through and check them out, you'll see them like running through like town hubs where you can see there's like 20 or 30 people, like actual players in the town. So I'm excited for this to feel like more of a community game outside of, you know, you playing with a few people here and there. So there's a lot of aspects of this that I'm getting intrigued by, that I'm interested in. I still don't know if we're going to see a international release. So if you're not aware of any of the release information, right now it is slated for a Japanese release before a global, and it has not even been officially confirmed that there is going to be a global release. But at the beginning of the video, when we talk about that conference call, where they essentially come out and say, like, guys, it's not an MMO. It's not an MMO. They also do a kind of recruiting plug, to where they're looking for staff. They claim that there's already 3 digits worth of people working on the game, but they were recruiting for some things like language localization, which can be taken in a lot of ways, and what I'm about to say should not be taken as fact. It's just petty speculating, using his caveman brains to put some thoughts together. But I think what we might see happen with this game, and what I'm really hoping, is that the amazing launch and success of Genshin, and it being a global release and doing so phenomenally, with this being a similar type game with more of a multiplayer feel to it, I want to keep hammering that home. Hopefully they're putting 2 and 2 together and realizing that if they can have a global launch, either with the Japan launch when the game goes live, or follow as quickly after it is possible, the better. I think releasing the game both on the China market and globally at the same time for Genshin was beautifully done. A lot of those games release in their original countries first. They'll have their first year or so, and then it'll get released in other areas, and sometimes all at once, sometimes staggered in a way. Like Dragon Raja, we saw a kind of global release, and then they got SEA servers like 3-4 months. I know it was like 5 or 6 months after launch they got the CEA servers. And ultimately what that ends up doing is splitting up your community base across different time periods. It's not even like you're just spacing them out too far away from each other. You're literally distancing them in time. So it's harder for your game to have the impact that it could if everyone around the world was playing it at once, if everyone was able to talk about it at the same time. So having those isolated releases, I think, just hurts games more than anything else. But it can be very expensive to try and launch outside of your country. So it is a very tall glass. It's a super tough thing to kind of ask and expect of developers. And really only the big guys overseas would be able to do that. Smaller companies definitely wouldn't be able to mimic that. But I think that model has room for a lot of success. So hopefully they learned, a little bit from Genshin's launch and are going to do what they can to to get it to everybody as quickly as possible. We're going to do a little bit more digging into this game, try and figure out what information we have that is confirmed already and how some of the stuff work, and see if we can put some stuff together. Because after finding this site and being able to find so much concrete information on it, I'm excited. I'm excited. I went from like, oh, okay, this is coming out eventually, I'll see how that goes, to like, now I'm looking. Now I'm looking. So we'll be a little bit better informed on this and not go 2 months between updates on it. But yeah, Blue Protocol is looking good, guys. You guys should definitely check some of this stuff out. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. If you could be my John Connors, help me defeat the evil machines. Leaving a like, comment, hitting the bell, all that stuff really helps smaller channels push forward through the evil algorithm. Also, shout out, we just got the second video up for our new channel that I'm doing with some family. So if you could check the description and give some of that stuff a little bit of love, I'd really appreciate it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by today. You're gonna have to catch your boy in the next one, cause we're out of here. Deuces.